Have you ever been at a session where you're just not feeling good that day? You're not feeling it. You got a stomach ache. You're tired, whatever it is. And yet you're presented with, I've got to do these tracks and make it feel great. And how do you get through that?
Yeah, I mean that's like anything, unless you're, you need to be taped up, which has happened to me, breaking my left ankle 3 times playing basketball in my youth days,
Wow.
and those kind of things. But I don't recall ever missing a session for being ill. And if you are ill, um, sometimes, and I would say most of the time, the adrenaline that you get from playing your drums and learning a song and then feeling it come through is going to see the doctor. Now there are instances where it affects your hearing when you're ill. Let's say you've got some sort of a head cold and stuff, and so you're not hearing things correctly because you're locked up in your in your oral cavity, and that can be difficult. You start complaining to the engineer that, hey, I'm not hearing this right, and he's looking at his levels and he realizes that, man, I'm pumping a lot of stuff to you, and oh God, it's me. And so you try to adjust. So you just try to let the adrenaline flow. You just reminded me. I was doing a session. It was during That's What Friends Are For time at Conway A, and Burt Bacharach and Carol Bear Sager were producing. We had an A band. I think Freddie was playing bass, and Randy Kerber or Robbie Buchanan and Paul Jackson or Mike Landau. I can't remember all the guitar players. And I had herniated my L5 8 millimeters and my L4 5 millimeters, moving a stupid 500-pound potter's wheel around my property for my first wife, thinking that I was going to surprise her. Little did I know, I'm at Quincy's neurosurgeon trying to get fixed, and they couldn't operate on me because it was too close to my spinal cord in those days. So I went to therapy and drugs. And so I came to this session and got through maybe the first 2-3 hours, and then I'm complaining. I can't stand. I can't do anything. I can't play. I'm complaining. And I remember those two, Bert and Carol, saying, John, just sit down and deal with it. And I'm going, man, I gotta go. I gotta go home and take more drugs. And come on, man, give us some more takes. And that was one instance where I was not a happy camper.
I had a feeling there was at least one. You've done too many sessions, right?
Yeah, there was probably more than one, and but I was always straight.
Oh, good. Yeah, I know you're an anti-drug.
I know a lot of famous drummers that were not.
And are they still with us?
They are not.
Hey, so speaking of other drummers, I read that you actually replaced some drum parts, or maybe the whole thing, on a Bob Seger record, and it was Russ Kunkel's drum parts.
I did not replace them. Russ called me. He's always been a dear friend of mine. And, he's older. He's like my sister's age. And he called me up and he goes, John, man, Bob wants you to play drums. And I go, how come you're not playing? Well, I've cut the first 4 songs and they want you to do the rest of the 6 or 7 because I got to go out with somebody. And I go, do you want it? And I go, yeah, man, I love Bob Seger. That time my wife was from Detroit, and Bob called me, and Bob goes, John, man, I'll get you a house on Lake Michigan, man, and you want to join the Silver Bullet Band. And, meanwhile, I don't want to join a band because I just got out of Rufus, and my session career was taking off and a lot of other things, and I don't really want to be in the Silver Bullet Band. But I started recording. It wasn't any of his stuff, so I recorded 7 new tunes, and ironically, 25 takes a song with deep old snare drums from Punch Andrews. It was just hell.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
So some of that stuff on Wikipedia is not true.
What does it say?
It says that you replaced some of his drum parts.
That is not true. I did my own drum parts. Now, I have replaced Steve Gadd before, which is, and Jeff, and Jeff's replaced me, and Steve's replaced me. Okay. But
so there's no hard feelings. It just happens, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are times where somebody's hearing something that they don't like. And here's an example. George Benson, we did a record that Russ Tiedemann produced called, I think it's 2020. And on there is a song by Bobby Darin made famous called Beyond the Sea. And everybody knows this song. I'm just doing my thing and I'm home or having some wine. I got a phone call from Russ. He goes, John, I need your help. And it's always like, okay, I got to put my doctor badge on in these situations. We need you to come in and replace these drums. I go, well, tell me what the deal is. Well, we recorded it in New York with a big band. And I'm thinking, shit, these are like all my peers in this band, right? These are like cats that play with Buddy and Thad and, Kenton and friggin' Woody. These are all the cats. And sure enough, they were. And we're going to call Joe Sample to come in with you. And we're coming to LA and bringing the tapes. And I go, okay, what's the song? It's Beyond the Sea. Well, I don't know. You guys are younger than me. I remember running around as a little kid, my parents playing that Bobby Darin version and listening. And the drummer, I don't know who it was, but it was a little hyped up on this track, and it's big open calfskin head bass drum, and but it swung hard. And I'm going, man, I love this track. So they play the track, and I go, shit. And there's so much leakage. So I took everything on the board and isolated it. Went through every track, and there's no click track. So I made a pattern of what this drummer, not what he played, but where he rushed and dragged and sounded foreign to the track. I go, okay, I need something to play with. So I went through every track, and I say, what's this? It says FG. And I solo it, it's Freddie Green. So I took Freddie Green's guitar part and made him a point, a click track, and then kept his part, copied it, and then played to his click track Freddie Green time. And then that's how I cut the part.
That's perfect, because that track came out sounding so good.
I'm a little safe on it if you're going to analyze my playing, but it's really not about me. It's about how I perceived what they wanted and that sort of thing. There's one other example of this. There's a guy named Mervyn Warren, cousin of Brian McKnight and Take Six boys, and really, really specializes in production and gospel choirs and just knows all the big boy chords and knows how to everything to work with vocals. I get a call again from Mervyn Warren, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? He goes, man, I need you, man. I need you to fix this. I go, great, here's the doctor, Blight. I got to start doing this. It's Whitney Houston's preacher's wife. He goes, we cut this whole track in a Southern Baptist church in Atlanta with a live band and a live choir, and the drums are awful. I go, shit, I'm thinking they're going to be leaking all over the place. All right, when do you want me? All right, come down. So I write down all the rushes and drags of this drummer and what's going on, figure out how to isolate stuff, how to not leak and blah, blah, blah. And then go in, and it was called I Love the Lord is the name of the song. So if you listen to that, and he's like rushing the shit out of it. So I put it back, I simplify it, but what I did to it makes it really, it's almost glorious is what I've done. And, so basically I'm in there controlling all the cats that were already played, and now they're playing with me, even though they did it 2 months earlier.
Wow.
Sounds like you had God on your side there.
Well, wait, let me check my ear.
Hey, have you ever been at a session where they plopped down some music on the music stand for you, and it was like reading the Black Page by Zappa that was like unplayable?
A couple.
How do you deal with that?
Well, I mean, during COVID, I had this one dude. This is just not a famous story at all. I had this guy. He goes, "Yeah, I know you got your nice studio, and I got this track, man." Well, it was a fucking track that Billy Cobham probably couldn't read, and it was very Cobham-esque from 1970. And I'm going, man, I just can't play this shit. I mean, I take me a while, but I just basically said no. Like doing a real date. There's a film composer named Christoph Beck, I did a lot of stuff with this guy, Hangovers and Tower Heist, and there was one track, and I can't remember what film it was that he wrote, and the guy it was like one of his programmer dudes, and every double bass drum part was notated with all the little ghost notes and shit between it, and I'm going, oh, this is really hard. Matter of fact, I'm even thinking about the double attacks that are physically, humanly impossible to play it. And then he looked at me, and Christoph goes, just play it like you would play it. And I go, okay. So it took me a little bit a while, and I basically would rewrite a part like that, keeping in mind of what are the most important hits or movements of that part within the phrase.
Okay. Yeah, I had a feeling that was the thing because, I mean, you read at almost every session, you're reading something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Always.
and I've been in big bands where it's like they'll put down that stuff. And you're like,
yeah,
crazy.
Well, dig this. A little time of my life, I was in the Tommy Dorsey band when I was 18.
Wow.
And it was a ghost band run by Warren Covington. And it was just, boy. But the book was that thick. And I'd go through it. And, you know, after he was really rude and he comes up to me, he goes, John, you know, I don't give a goddamn what you play as long as you play 1 and 3 in the kick drum, and throws the yellow jacket at me and walks away. I go, okay. And then, okay, I'm on the bandstand getting ready to start. He goes, okay, here we go. We're going to go 22, 19, 621, 47, 210, and 5. And you go through there, and you could probably see Buddy's blood on some of these charts. They're so fucking old. And I'm thinking, are all these drummers that were in that band, there must have been 100 of them, were they playing that shit verbatim? There's no way.
Yeah, no way. No
There's
way.
no way. You got to play it from, you know, from your heart.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, it turns out you and Marcos have something in common. You both played with Matt Mauser.
That's right. Mauser, my man.
Yeah.
Are you still playing with him?
No, he and I put a band together back in '98, and I was in that band for 10 years, and because I wanted to get more into recording. But no, we don't play together, but we do talk and text. He seems to have a knack for that Sinatra style of singing, and apparently you guys like his singing.
Yeah, and you know, I keep meaning to try to get down to Orange County, and you know, I'll sit in with 3 or 4 songs with his band. But I just got out of Southeast Asia, so I had to go into under the tent for about a week and a half and recoup. That was brutal. So I will get down there. Where do you guys live?
Huntington Beach.
Oh, you're down there. Okay, yeah, that's where he is. Okay, yeah. I mean, sure, he'll let you know, and I don't know when I'll figure that out. But very good guy.
Yeah, and what did you mean by under the tent?
I mean, I was, I don't know, I use that as a football reference.
COVID?
Since I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Southeast Asia, this trip was really difficult, because I always get sick when I go over there. Then once we get to Japan, it's like, home. Everything's nice and clean and safe and that sort of thing. And I've got a very huge following in Japan. So, but I was down on an island outside of Thailand with bugs in my bed and shit crawling around on the floor. And it was very interesting. And it's close to the equator. It's so hot and uncomfortable. It's not like Huntington Beach or Thousand Oaks.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Hey, how often do you see odd time signatures and things you do? And do you think every drummer should practice those just to be ready?
Yes. I mean, not East Indian grooves, I'll be honest.
Right.
I refuse to go there. Most of the time would be on film dates.
Oh. Okay.
And the reason why is because the composer, whomever, will be writing via pen, and we'll write something and then look at the transition on film, because I've actually scored 3 films, and you look at the transition going there, and like the only way to make it up is to add a 1/4 bar or a 2/4 bar or some a 3/8 bar or something if they need it to sync exactly. So you see that. And that one class I took at Berkeley in my second year with Gary Chafee, which was hell. It was Steve Smith, me, Casey Sherrill, Vinny would pop in. He wasn't even a member of the school, and Kenwood Denard. And it was a total polyrhythmical class. And if I'm playing 9/2, and then I'm going here to here, and then figuring that out how that works over 5 beats, I see it in film, and that's about the only time you see it.
Okay. And when you said Gary Chafee, I noticed instructional video he put out in the past, he would hit his snare and he'd be kind of changing from the German grip to the French.
Yep.
You do that also when you hit the snare.
I do, and it wasn't intentional. He and I may have something in common, because I haven't spoke to him in many years. When I got to Berkeley, I was still playing traditional grip, and I was 10 years behind with this hand. So everything was really great. And then I realized I'm watching some of these guys play, and they're getting such power out of their left hand. And I go, wait a minute, I'm going to switch over to match grip and attain that power that way. But I think that's how that rolling thing started between both grips.
I'm imagining that you listen to all kinds of music. You enjoy different styles of music. Who do you like that would surprise, fans of John Robinson?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, obviously, I listen to a lot of mainstream jazz, and that sort of transition with Philly Joe to Tony and Jack, and then still trying to figure out to this day what the hell Elvin played. It was the phrasing is just quite extraordinary with his playing. But, I went through a Billy Cobham phase and realized that, well, it wasn't about time. I used to make a joke. He was the Jerome Bettis of drummers. Anybody who doesn't know who Jerome Bettis was, he was the running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was just brazen, and he and I are very, very close. And that, but in like today's times, I mean, do I like Danny Carey and Tool? Yes. It's not my kind of music, but there's so much music out there that, I don't like Norwegian speed metal. I've tried to digest it. I've hung out with Nico, and do I really like Iron Maiden? Well, it's cute. It's gimmicky. Do I like Rammstein? Well, I might like Rammstein better than Iron Maiden. That doesn't mean any sort of political affiliation. Did I like ABBA? I loved ABBA.
Me too.
There was something about, and a lot of people don't realize on Dancing Queen is so well recorded. That's a drum loop.
It sounds like it. I mean,
But it's not a 2-bar loop. It's a drum loop, and it's so well done, and it's analog.
I mean, a lot of ABBA stuff is beautifully recorded,
Yeah, I agree. And I did, fortunately, get to work and write with Agneta. I wrote a hit record for her once called We Got Away. And it was back when I was young, and I had a tank top on, and I was playing basketball in my breaks, because I was always a ball player. And she came, because she was just so hot. And she came out to me, and she started rubbing my shoulders. And she goes, "You got such really nice shoulders." And I'm thinking, girl, But I think that was her just Swedish way,
Oh, that's funny. Hey, if I named a studio drummer, could you give a 1-word answer about their style? We
Yep.
start with Steve Gadd.
Definitive.
Jeff Vaccaro.
Magical.
Vinnie Colaiuta.
Freak.
Jim Keltner.
Soulful.
Harvey Mason.
Innovative.
Russ Chronicle.
Kunkel.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Professional.
Hal Blaine,
First man on the moon.
Bernard Purdy,
Stories.
Earl Palmer,
Groove.
Rick Marotta,
Character.
Dave Weckl,
Chops.
and Peter Erskine.
Genius.
Anybody I left off the list that you want to mention?
Billy Cobham.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Big influence of mine, too.
I first heard Billy Cobham play on a McDonald's jingle. And it was like, bop, you deserve a break today. I go, who in the fuck is that? Billy Cobham, I would say trailblazer.
Yeah.
Tony Williams, melodic. Ed Soph, teacher. Alan Dawson, super teacher.
Mm.
I mean, I could just keep going here. There's Buddy Rich, God.
Yeah.
What do you think of Jimmy Chamberlain?
Younger than me and great.
Yeah, for sure.
One of my favorites.
What about John Bonham? I know you're a fan of his.
I'm a huge fan, and I admire drummers who were only in one band their whole life.
Mm.
And what little recording they did, that spoke for itself even to this day. He may have not known what he was doing. I mean, I don't know if Bonham could read or write his part out or understood what ghost notes were or swing. Could he play in a big band? I don't know. But legend.
I met you at a drum clinic up at the Remo headquarters.
Okay.
In the 80s, and I think that Buddy Carlos was at the same clinic. But
oh, right. Was that was a Remo Day thing?
Yeah. And I went up and talked to you, and I told you that I had heard a bunch of different songs that you'd played on the radio, and there was a very recognizable crash cymbal on these songs, and you said that was a 20-inch thin Zildjian crash.
Zildjian A.
Yeah, exactly. Avidus. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Not A custom, just A. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't think A custom was out at that point.
Right. So that was part of your sound. Now, you're with Peisty now. Why the switch, and what's that like to just switch to a different company?
I've been with Peisty for 18 years. And the reason why I left Zildjian, I mean, I had been playing Zildjian since I was a little boy. And then I finally became professional enough, 18, 19 years old, that I would get gear. And then Armin and I became very close. And I felt I was one of the first 5 drummers that had sticks that Johnny D got me endorsed with. It was me, Joey Kramer, Tony Williams, Elvin maybe, and there was a 5th one. And I was very honored about that. So I'm thinking, oh, they're branching out. They're, getting into the stick thing. They ran an ad later with all these sticks popped up and it had all these names, and mine weren't there. And I kind of come back and I'm going, and by the way, this is when Armin was being put out to pasture. And I go, where are my sticks in this ad? They go, oh my gosh, we just so fucked up, we overlooked them. And I go, well, bye. And so I basically left the company because of that issue. And there was a lot of other issues. Like they couldn't make a decent 24-inch ride cymbal in those days. So I started looking at Peisty's 2002 24s, and I had owned some Peisty cymbals back in high school, which was very difficult in Iowa to attain. And then I started listening to the ECM records and started playing these 20-inch flat rides on a lot of these jazz gigs I was doing. So I purchased my own stuff. And so Tommy Aldridge helped me come over. And I came over, and it's about 18 years ago, whenever the hell that was, 2006, I think. And then started developing my own ride cymbal, and that took 3 years to make. That ride cymbal, unfortunately, Eric overpriced it, and the whole world can't afford it, which to me, in a marketing world, that's really a bad mistake. Then we came out with a Swish ride, which was okay. We're at a point now where I can't say anything other than the switch over to that company was really great, because I would switch over to the crashes were signature fulls. They were, I was still doing Streisand orchestra, so I needed something. It was that old Stan Kenton thing where you need really big cymbals to cover up or surround the band. And so that's what I was doing at that point.
Snare drums do you actually own?
Well, during COVID, I think I sold 25. I had about 85.
Wow. That's
And I sold some of the old Ludwigs, which was, but I realized that, do I really need them?
right.
I don't. I actually still have a 22 15 by 4 chromed over Ludwig Black Beauty. Some asshole, I bought it knowing that it was a Black Beauty, but somebody chromed it. I go, it doesn't sound any different. And I got it for like $200. So I still kept that. But, I had 15 by 7, 2 of them nickel plated. I maybe still have one of those. I don't know. But DW makes such fine things now. And between that and Ludwig's and, the ASBA made me a custom snare a couple of years ago. I know they're struggling now. It was like an 8-inch mahogany thing. It's really bizarre. And the future, as I can say, looks bright with a certain issue on that also. So, and I'll be honest about when I play and what I play, and like I've got the jazz trio now, and then I've got the J.R. Robinson experience that's about to launch, which you'll be able to come and see me with doing hits, but then also making kind of like more hipper versions of things. We'll be able to tour on that. And then I'd like to finish, with talking about the book and then what we've got in store for the future. But with the companies and the company support, for example, after the Zildjian stick thing, I went with Carol and Regal Tip, and they were very kind to me. And then Innovative Percussion came, and I noticed my teacher, Ed Sof, endorses Innovative Percussion, and they're pro-education. They had this whole thing about education, so they offered to make me 3 different instruments, and so I ended up going with them, and that's been very supportive. As far as drums now and cymbals, heads will always be Remo, and I have a new Axis, JR Axis pedal coming out with my new logo, and we will pair that with the book as by the end of this year, you'll be able to see that. But then, as far as cymbals and the way drums are doing things, there could be some changes in the future that because of the way I'm playing, thinking, writing, and business tones could allow me to move into another direction.
I remember either hearing about it or reading about when Peter Frampton, I think he was in hospital and he heard a song with somebody playing drums on it. And he said, "Who is that drummer? I want him on my next record," or something like that. Did that happen?
Yeah.
What was the recording that he heard?
It could have been Winwood. It could have been Winwood, but I'm not sure what he heard. But the night I got that phone call, I was an 87 Lakers nut, to a point where every time I do a session, they'd have to wheel a TV in by the drum set so I could watch the game while I'm recording. So, that was a little bit in my opinion, I guess, now that you think back. But, and if they lost, the track was, and if they won, it was like, But, yeah, well, Magic was my friend, and Norman and James and Kareem. I knew all those gentlemen, and I got a call. I was home watching one of the Lakers Celtics playoff games, and it was right after the Lakers had just won the '87 series. So I'm drinking and I'm partying and running around, and my little young sons were young at the time, and they go, "Wow, Daddy's happy!" And all of a sudden, ring telephone, and I go, "Hello, JR, yeah, this is Peter Frampton." I go, "Oh, don't fuck with me, man." Click. All of a sudden, ring. JR, it's really Peter Frampton. I go, "Man, this is a prank. Who's pulling this prank, man? It's one of these Celtics fans I don't like." Blah, blah. "No, it's really Peter." I go, "Oh, you sound like you're at a party." I go, "Yeah, the Lakers just won." "The Lakers? You mean the basketball team?" He didn't know anything.
Wow.
I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, and he starts telling me, "I really want you to play with me." And so that's how it started. And I went in and started recording with him. And then I joined his band in the mid-90s.
We Are the World session. What was that like? Was there a lot of people at the time you recorded, or what was happening?
There were two studios, and we recorded at Lion's Share, Kenny Rogers' studio, which was the old ABC Dunhill building, ironically, where Rufus was signed. And there was, 60 news media outlets there filming us. Quincy and Umberto were in the control room, and myself, Greg Fillinganes, and Louis Johnson were outside. And everybody's like, snap, snap, roll, roll, roll. Michael's running around with Webster and Lionel, and we're all hanging around the piano, and they're taking pictures, and we're learning the song, and got the sounds, and then Quincy looks at me, and I tell this story a lot. Quincy looks at his watch, and points at his watch angrily, and points at me, and it's through the glass. In other words, get this session started. We're on a clock. And I'm looking, and there's 60 people in there, and I basically use the Eddie Murphy coined phrase, "Everybody listen up, get the fuck out." And they all like, "Oh my God, I can't." I go, "Listen, give us 20 minutes, let us cut the track, then you guys can all come back in." "Okay," like click, click, click. And they all get out, shut the door, and I go, "I thought they'd never leave." And, hit the tape, boom. And then we cut the track and went home. And then the vocalist came a week later at A&M.
Wow, that's crazy.
So what is the most amount of takes that you would have done, to either please the producer? Did you ever do just an outrageous amount of takes?
Yeah, I mean, we brought it up. It was like a rock album, not that song, but it was Bob Seger, and the producer's name is Punch Andrews from Detroit. Strong-armed dude. And I'm using these old Ludwig deep snares that I would tune really fat, because that was kind of what Russ was doing. So I figured I'd emulate that and make it my own thing. And we're getting take 3. I go, "Oh man, I did great. I'm feeling really good with the Silver Bullet Band." And they're complimenting me. And I go, "Let's do another take." And then we're in take 8. And I'm going, snare starting to slip. "Man, didn't we get it?" "Oh yeah, it was good." And I go, "Punch, man, don't we have it?" He goes, "Yeah, it was really good, man, but I just keep recording." So it was 25 takes a song.
Whoa.
Analog.
Wow. That's a workout right there for sure.
It was stupid.
It's excessive.
It was stupid.
You guys probably got it in the second or third take.
Probably, and I'm like, it's slavery at its finest.
If you could only play one style of music the rest of your career, what would it be?
Funk.
Yeah. I thought you might say jazz too.
Well, jazz, funk is a derivative of jazz. It's just, it's got a bigger downbeat and bigger backbeat. Fusion jazz, no. There's like all this crap out there that it's just awful. And jazz would be it, but it would be more, straight ahead. But and I like simple, great rock and roll too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Stroke Me. Come on, I love that song.
Right. Yeah.
From Billy, and but probably it had to be jazz funk.
How is your hearing, and do you wear ear protection?
No. I would assume that the left side in the mid range or in the hi-hat range is probably down a few dB from always, from I've been almost 60, I've been 61 years of playing drums. So, the hi-hat's always on the left in my case. And I would assume it's down, but I have very acute hearing. And our monitor guy with us, with David, his name is Pete Brennan, and he works with a company called OSA out of Nashville and Las Vegas on stage. And they're so good. And he dials in. When I sit behind the drum set with David Foster, it's like I'm in Capitol. And I have every nuance and thing at my disposal. And when I play the drums, I don't have to hit them hard. Or if I hit them hard, they come out. Or if I play really soft, they're just beautiful. And so, and I can tell when I come into a new city, and some assholes put a gate on something. And I go, you've got a gate on this. You got to get rid of the gate. He goes, we didn't think you'd hear it. I go, fuck you. And I hear it right out of the gates, So don't gate anything. Don't gate anything. It just ruins the drum sounds. So thank God my hearing's been good.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about the book. Is this like an overview of your life? Is it going to be an audio book? Like, what is the book?
The audio will come later, and hopefully I will be doing that, and I'll be doing that here. I'll be doing it on that microphone, not this one. And I've never done an audio book, even though I've done all sorts of voiceovers and stuff, but that's later. The book's called King of the Groove, and it is about my life story, but it also has, it's not necessarily a drummer-based book. It's about life. I'm a boy from Iowa. There's not a lot of tragedy in it, even though there's tragedy, but it does tell the stories of then how I grew and did all this thing, and then ended up getting discovered by Hawk Walensky, and who wrote Ain't Nobody, and then moving after high school I moved to Boston, and then from Boston I was in Ohio, where I got discovered with Rufus. Then I moved back from Boston to Los Angeles. But we talk about all this stuff, and the plan is where are we at? September 1 is that when our book release is going to come out. Probably be through Amazon, and then on my website, johnjrrobinson.com, you'll be able to get links that way too. And then we'll have a full-on campaign about that. And then the plan is next year I want to be doing business lectures about this, and then also having drums as a prop for examples. For example, Change the World, I did with Eric Clapton. It was a Grammy-winning #1 song. Is very much a double entendre message for businessmen and things. So that's part of that plan. The long game plan is to get the documentary started, which we're in talks about. And even though I got a shitload of new stuff to do, we're looking at that. And then I've been working with trying to reassemble Rufus and Shaka Khan to do a docuseries, and I'm waiting for her to get her solo thing, finished up for end of July, and hopefully next year we will be starting that, because some of the guys in that band are getting up there. So it's been a goal of mine to do that. And then I'm doing a Hollywood Bowl on November 3rd with the David Foster's birthday party, which is basically a who's going to be with us, Andrea Bocelli and Michael Bublé and Josh Groban, and just all sorts of Jennifer Hudson, and people will be singing with us for that. So it's a little busy. Next week I'm in Omaha with SRT, my trio. I'm doing a seminar and then a live concert on the Green for 10,000 people. And then the following week, if you're out, we're at Kumbawa in Santa Cruz at the Jazz Club. And I'll be doing a seminar there too. And then that's it.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Hey, so you mentioned Ain't Nobody. Did you say that Hawk Walensky wrote that tune?
Hawk wrote it solely. God bless him.
I know. I remember hearing that song on the radio and thinking that drum part is it's mechanical. And I think I read that it originally had a drum machine and you replaced the drum machine with real drums and you wanted to kind of emulate the mechanical feel. I also read that you did kick and snare separately and then overdubbed the hi-hat. I mean,
That's correct.
now that's got to be more difficult than playing it all at once. Yes?
Well, several things. First of all, it was Hawk's LM1. He wrote that in part of his demo, and then he goes, Johnny, you got to come in. So we went into Warner's small little room, and I brought in a custom Yamaha 9-inch snare drum, which I can't find right now, and tuned it really fat. And I had a Yamaha kick drum, the 24, and some really old piece of shit Zildjian hi-hats. I didn't think after I cut like 7 minutes of playing that groove the same way, but from the verse to the chorus, but without the hi-hat, it's the same part. Got it, but forever. And then I put the hi-hat and I made the hi-hat break it up. And then the chorus, so it adds this complete thing. I didn't think about it at the time that, oh shit, I got to play that live. I got to play it live, and I go, okay, all right. Well, it came out of my head, so I must be able to do that. So it worked out, and one of the greatest pay days for me was I was doing some record. I don't know, some Japanese album or something somewhere in North Hollywood area. And I come out and back of my car out and I see Mike Baird coming in. He's going to do a record. And he comes by. I go, oh, JR, how you doing? He goes, oh, man, you coming in? Yeah. He goes, man, I just want to congratulate you on your programming on Ain't Nobody. We were #1. He goes, man, you programmed your ass off. And I go, Mike, there's no programming. I played it. He goes, no, you didn't play that. I go, I did. I played it. It was robotic as hell, but I played it, and it gave something for the dancers, and then which is really what it was about. It was for them to come up with a new thing. So, you do what's right for the right moment for the right song.
Exactly. Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, JR, thank you so much for taking time out of the day and sharing all this information with us. Thank you so much.
It's my honor. It's great. It's great talking the inside stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And so how can we'll just go to your website if we want to see some local gigs.
Yeah, they'll be there, and right, and I mean, I can give you my manager's name, but I think you can go through the John J. Robinson.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Keep on drumming. We'll talk to you soon.
That's what we want to plan on doing, man. And say hey to Matt if you see him before me.
Yeah, we're big fans. So
all right, man. All right, love you guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.